What is up, credit for business owners? You already know, just like my hat says, we scale you up with ads. And what I'm here to do is help you hit more consistent six-figure month marks with Facebook and IG ads. For today's video, I'm going to screen share an exact lead quality management system to ensure that you get what I call layups and that you have the best chances of closing deals. And guys, we do have a very simplified approach to this, but it is an extensive system, and we make sure that we build this out on every single client's account, on every single GoHighLevel account that we work with, regardless if you're doing just credit repair, regardless if you're doing funding, whatever the objective is. We run the same lead quality management system because overall, we want to give you the best chances of actually closing deals. The more money that you guys make means the more money I'm going to make. So with that being said, let's go straight and share my screen. Let's go. So pretty much, let me just give you kind of a rundown exactly what's going to happen. So this is a new client that we're working with over here. Let's go into, for example, Jimmy Jones over here. No one's got numbers. It's pretty great. Okay, I'm not going to get in trouble here. Boom. So now how this works over here is that this lead ID will automatically be populated through the automations. Okay, messaging ads are very, very difficult to be able to attribute that. So what that means is that in order for somebody to really track, they have to hit a funnel. Then the activity will actually pop up. But we're not using a funnel because we typically use funnels for funding clients. We use messenger ads for credit clients. Because the cost to acquire a credit client is around 185, whereas the cost to acquire a funding client is around 1,300, all the way up to like 2,500 bucks. It's just a whole lot more high ticket. So you run a funnel for that for funding guys, whereas messenger ads, it's a little easier to close. You can close deals in chat sometimes, and boom, we run messenger ads. So the way that we actually track this is by specific ad and by specific keyword that these people are actually using. So what I mean by that is, let me show you some examples. We literally just launched these dudes ads. Go to the very bottom. Check this out. So each one, as you can see over here, has a different green. Fund my biz. Boom. Let's get funded. Boom. Help get me funded. Boom. Please get me funded. Boom. Funding. As you can see, all these keywords that people can just do, like I call these conversational starters, right? It just creates a conversation. It's not a lead form. It's not a funnel. It's not an automated chat. These are convo starters. And all they do is click on send over here, either through IG or Facebook. For this client specifically, only working the ads on IG because his IG is way more built out than his Facebook. Boom. All they're going to do is reply on this. Once they reply to that, it's automatically going to be added to their nurture sequence. Be able to nurture them with emails, texts, and voicemail drops, of course, until they actually reply, which moves them over to an engaged stage. But we're not really going over that sales system over here. We're going over this, lead quality management. So when they say something like this, what automatically happens is, let me pull this up over here, our automation. Because for those of you that are trying to solve this issue in terms of tracking messenger ads and where they come from, there's really no software out there. Kairos, I don't even think it does it because they need to be able to hit an actual landing page. So this is where I found it really be the best way to kind of handle this. Yeah, you can use ManyChat, but I'm not too crazy about the automated chats on there. This is where I like the best. Boom. This one's in data housekeeping. Let's go to tracking. So individual ads. So example, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have 5 ads out there. Each one has their own specific replies. We just launched the ads, so none of these are populating just yet. But what that allows us to do is then allocate an actual actual ad ID per specific response. Boom. Now we're able to designate the lead that comes in to what ad it is. Awesome. We're getting started. Next thing that we're going to do is really we got to figure out a couple pieces of information. My main piece of information that I need to know from every single person are the following. Obviously, the name, date created, engage these guys responding back, if they're a good fit or bad fit, they scheduled lead quality, from 1 to 5, signed up and add. Lead quality 1 to 5 is really based upon the actual questions that these guys put. So I can put like lead quality score, 1 through 5, 5 being the best. And let's say, these people are price shopping. That's not going to be a good lead quality. They're price shopping, that's like a 1 or 2. Really depends on the questions they ask. Whereas if they're ready to get started today, y'all got money, cash in hand, take my fucking money. That's a 5 right over there. That's a good lead. And that's how we optimize per ad what is bringing what type of average lead quality. So obviously, let's say we run 3 ads over here. Ad A, B, and C. Ad A is giving a higher lead quality of like 5. We close a couple of deals, all good fits, all engaged. Whereas ad 2 and 3 is like a lead quality of a 3 and this one lead quality of a 1. Obviously, boom, knock those shits out. We're hitting that. We're focusing on that main ad that's bringing those way better results for us. My job as a marketer, as a results-based agency, is to give you the best chances of success. Because when you make more money, I'm going to get paid more. That's straight up how it is. I charge a 10% of ad spend. That's my performance fee. So what that means is that I got to do everything in my best chances to make sure you're closing deals so that you're scaling up this campaign. Obviously, if you're not closing deals, you're not going to scale your campaign. If you're not scaling your campaign, my team's not going to make more money. This is what we got to do. So boom. Now, how do we get this information in a very systematic and diplomatic way? I don't know if I'm using the right words over there. Diplomatic, probably not the right word. Just trying to sound fancy and impress you guys. I'm done with that. No more of that. But the lead ID will automatically be populated. Let's say it's example two. Boom. Let's say that this person is a good fit. Now, their appointment setters will write good fit while they're just chatting through chat over here, hustling for your appointment setter, doing the thing that they do. If you don't have an appointment setter, it's going to require a little bit more hustle on your end, in which case you're going to have to fill out all this information. But it's going to be easy. If once you start really scaling up that campaign and bringing in 100 leads plus per day, then you're definitely going to need an appointment setter. But if you're anywhere under 50 leads a day, you don't really need an appointment setter. With the understanding that the average lead costs around $5, 50 leads a day is like 50 times five. Maybe spending around 200 and $250 a day. I mean, honestly, once you kind of hit that $100 to $150 a day in ad spend, then I'll implement an appointment setter. You implement an appointment setter to the once you get to the point where you really can't handle leads. You're sacrificing your response rate because you're just too busy doing other important things. You as the business owner, you'll be constantly implementing systems so you can pull yourself out of the business and focus on those higher tasks and then pay you more money. So once you kind of once you start scaling up your ad campaign, you're sacrificing your response rates because you're too busy making content and closing deals. And boom, get an appointment setter. And then once you get to the point where you're doing more than 10 calls a day, 15 calls a day, that becomes kind of out of hand. Now you're missing appointments. Now you're going to start needing to get a commission-based closer. Boom. But let's keep on going. So like I was saying, good fit or bad fit, typically done by the appointment setter. Lead score over here is done by the closer. This is kind of the wrong order. So let me pause real quick. Awesome, we're back. So like I was saying, I just rearranged this. Maybe I imported it wrong. Maybe it goes, whatever. Nonetheless, good fit. So the appointment setter is right, good fit. Now, engage will automatically populate. So let me show you. If this person would reply back, it would automatically say that this person is talking. This person replied back. And how do we know this? Because we have an automation set up. So when they reply back to here, it automatically moves into engage. When they move into engage, boom, it marks this as engaged. Now, if they move over into schedule a free consult booked, boom, it'll mark it as appointment scheduled. Now, if they miss the consult, it'll then mark it as missed consult. But if they don't, and it goes like hot or signed up, it'll automatically be showed up. Now, when you're in during that actual call, you're in the sales conversation with this person. It's your job over here, again, to mark it 1 through 5, 5 being the best. If you need, I can help you out with those qualification questions so that you can have a more systematic way to be able to score these leads coming in. But that's not really the point of this video here. That's kind of easy stuff to do. And obviously, deal close. And of course, if you move over to signed up, it'll automatically populate this as deal close. If you move them over to hot, 90-day follow-up or not interested, it'll automatically move them as not closed. Boom, pretty simple. Just like the same thing as the other one. If you move them into missed consult, it'll move this as missed consult. But once they schedule the appointment, it automatically makes it as show up. To make this as missed consult, you have to update the actual appointment under here or move them over here. Boom, lead score. Boom, you do that, deals closed, automatically populates if you move them over. Simple. So now when I press save, or as you move them over, automatically saves for you. Boom, I just press save. Go over here. Boom, just like that. The information from Jimmy Jones is popping over here. Pretty simple, right? Cool. Now what we do is very, very simplistic approach to this is we just create a financial model, a quick KPI sheet. What we can do is just throw this into ChatGPT, give me the averages per specific ad. Actually, let me show you how that. Or you can just create an actual graph on here, but we just take the simplistic approach. We're just like, yo, because ChatGPT is so freaking good, we don't need to do anything else. We just take this, boom, plug this into here, based upon each ad, which gives the best average lead quality. ChatGPT is amazing. Honestly, Over here, I really only have two examples over here, so it's not really the best. But as you see over here, test add over here, average equality of 3. Example, add 2, average equality of 5. Obviously, there's way more data and scale. Matter of fact, let me actually close this one over here. Boom, 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 just so that you understand. But that's exactly how I handle our lead quality. So now that we know that, for example, let's say that's telling us that screen share 70K over here has a lead score of 4 or 5, whereas other ones are all below 3. Now we know where we need to push the budget to. It only just makes sense. There's a lot more automations on the back end over here. So if you guys need help with that, words. I strongly recommend you reach out to me. Don't hesitate to reach out because I want to help you make more money, obviously. Like for example, all these automations here to kind of just make that shit happen. So when we're moving through the pipeline stages, it automatically does a lot of the work for you, so you don't have to, saving you resources for your appointment center and your closers. But yeah, that's the setup here, guys. Again, very, very simplistic approach. All this then is then populated into Notion for me to understand and be able to make optimizations for me and my media buyer, make optimizations on your actual ad account based upon revenue that's actually driven based upon the lead quality score and other data that we get in from exactly this. So again, guys, thank you for watching. If you need help with this, you already know we scale with ads. There's plenty of ways to get in contact with us. And God bless, guys. Talk to you soon.